The soda splashed across her uniform like cold shame. Gasps echoed through the grand ballroom. "Oops!" said Victoria Hartwell, pretending to sound innocent. Her diamond bracelet glittered under the chandeliers as she tilted her glass slightly. "What a pity," she added, voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Some people just don't belong in elegant places like this." The Boston Charity Gala shimmered with wealth, gold decor, silk gowns, and laughter that sounded more like competition than joy. In the middle of it all stood Jasmine Washington, a 24-year-old waitress working her third double shift that week. She froze for a moment, the sticky soda sliding down her clean white shirt. Her heart thudded, but her voice remained calm. "I'll clean it up right away, ma'am," she said softly. Victoria smirked, looking her up and down. "You should. Next time, try not to walk into people who actually matter." Her friends laughed quietly behind their champagne glasses. But Jasmine didn't respond. She simply nodded, grabbed a towel, and walked away with quiet dignity. The crowd stared. Some whispered. Others just looked away, as if silence was easier than justice. From the corner of the room, a tall man with silver hair watched closely. Robert Hartwell, Victoria's husband. Billionaire businessman. Calm, intelligent, and clearly disappointed. He had seen arrogance before, but this was cruelty dressed in designer clothes. In the kitchen, Jasmine finally exhaled. She wiped the sticky soda off her hands, forcing her emotions to stay locked behind a practiced smile. This wasn't the first time someone had looked down on her, but tonight something inside her whispered, "Record this moment. It's going to mean something." She checked her small voice recorder in her apron pocket. It was running. When she returned to the ballroom with fresh glasses, Victoria was holding court again, surrounded by a group of high society women, all pretending to be entertained. "Did you see her face?" she said mockingly. "Honestly, they should have better standards when hiring. I felt like I was in a diner, not a gala." One woman chuckled nervously. "Well, she did handle it politely." Victoria rolled her eyes. "Please, politeness doesn't hide where someone really comes from." Her words hit like invisible knives. Jasmine pretended not to hear, but every sentence burned deeper. Then, as Jasmine passed by, Victoria smirked again. "You understand the menu, don't you, sweetheart? Or should I read it out for you?" The laughter around the table grew louder. Jasmine turned slowly, her face calm but her eyes sharp. "Of course, ma'am." Then, with flawless pronunciation and the smooth confidence of someone who had studied at Harvard, she began to read aloud every dish on the French menu. Soupe à l'oignon, filet mignon au poivre, crème brûlée au caramel. The entire table fell silent. Every syllable rolled off her tongue like a quiet storm. When she finished, Jasmine smiled politely. "I hope that was helpful, ma'am." The air went still. Victoria's fake grin cracked slightly. Around her, people exchanged looks, confused, impressed, embarrassed. Even Robert Hartwell couldn't hide his small, approving smile. He raised his glass and said gently, "Victoria, perhaps we should remember this evening is about charity, not hierarchy." That word, charity, landed like thunder. Later that night, Jasmine was clearing trays near the entrance when Robert approached her. "Ms. Washington," he said quietly, "I want to apologize for what happened. My wife's behavior was unacceptable." Jasmine shook her head. "You don't need to apologize, sir." "Actually," he said, "I think I do, because I've watched her treat people like this for too long." He hesitated. "You're not really just a waitress, are you?" Jasmine smiled faintly. "Harvard Business School. I'm finishing my MBA. I work part-time here to support my mom." Robert looked stunned. You're a Harvard student? Yes, sir. And tonight was part of my final research project. I'm studying microaggressions and discrimination in corporate environments. I've been recording real-life interactions anonymously, of course. Robert nodded slowly, realization dawning. So tonight was all caught on tape. Jasmine nodded once. Robert sighed. Then I suppose the world is finally going to see who my wife really is. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a business card, and handed it to her. I'd like to offer you a job, not as a waitress, as a diversity consultant for my company. We need someone like you, someone who actually understands what inclusion means. Jasmine blinked in surprise. Are you serious? Completely, he said. Full salary, full respect. I'll make sure of it. Before she could respond, a sharp voice interrupted. Robert! Victoria's heels clicked across the marble floor. Why are you talking to her? Robert turned calmly. Because she's intelligent, professional, and far more decent than most people here tonight. Victoria's face flushed red. She embarrassed me. No, Robert said evenly. You embarrassed yourself. He turned to Jasmine. I'll see you Monday morning at the office. 3 weeks later, the story everyone had ignored exploded. A 20-minute audio recording hit the internet, titled, Billionaire's Wife Caught Mocking Waitress at Charity Gala. The world listened in outrage as Victoria's own voice played, every insult, every condescending word, crystal clear. The clip went viral overnight. Within hours, brands pulled sponsorships from her charity foundation. Her friends stopped answering calls. Reporters camped outside her mansion. By morning, the Boston Herald headline screamed, High society hypocrisy exposed. Justice served cold. Victoria begged Robert to fix it, but he didn't even look up from his coffee. She recorded you because you gave her a reason to, he said quietly, and maybe the world needed to hear it. That afternoon, Robert resigned from his wife's foundation and filed for divorce. Meanwhile, Jasmine started her new position as Director of Diversity and Inclusion at Hartwell Development. She trained executives, rewrote hiring policies, and built scholarship programs for minority students. Her quiet strength changed everything. 6 months later, under the bright lights of Harvard's graduation ceremony, Jasmine stood at the podium in her cap and gown. Her voice carried across the hall. Sometimes life puts you in rooms where you're looked down upon. But remember, dignity is louder than cruelty. Never let anyone tell you that you don't belong. The crowd rose to their feet in applause. Outside that hall, posters of Victoria's scandal still floated online, a lasting reminder of what pride can destroy and what grace can build. Jasmine smiled quietly. She didn't need revenge. Karma had already done her work. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and share it, because true power isn't loud, it's calm, kind, and unforgettable.